Money.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
How are you doing? How are you doing? Mhm.
Yes. I'm very well. Thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, good, good, good. Long time, long time. Yeah,
I know. It's been a while. And thanks
yeah.
for inviting me.
That's okay. I see all these amazing things that you're doing. It's almost like you're flying all over the place and amazing things. So I thought it would be good to capture your story, capture your inspiration, and capture that vision, to understand,
Yes.
stuff that can inspire other people as well. So thanks so much for agreeing to come on and speak to us. So it's great.
Yeah, sure. It's a pleasure. Just give
Yeah,
me 1 second. 1 second,
yeah.
okay?
No problem, no problem.
Okay.
Okay,
I am back on.
good to go. Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. Has it been a bit busy day so far? Yeah. Or is it
Yeah.
always big?
Uh, Quite busy, doing a lot of different things,
Yeah.
but not as busy as yesterday. So it's
Yeah.
not too bad, it's okay.
Okay. Cool. So, this podcast actually, the idea is it's a knowledge sharing base, and practically most of the stuff we're doing is to capture inspirational stories from people like yourself who have done well across all walks of life in business and all of that in a way that can
Mhm.
inspire others to feel and see that they also have the potential and the ability to either do similar things and capture the lessons and the things that have driven yourself, for example, to achieve and be where you are. But also, I get to put it forward as like in a way a bit of your biography as well. If you look at let's say take 10 years 20 years down the line and someone is looking and trying to understand who was money, yeah, what would you like them to listen to and hear? So it sort of tracks and takes down your timeline as well, taking you back from the early days, like where you were born, the
Yeah,
siblings and how you grew up, the parents, the family, and then
yeah,
your journey of school and university and work, and then what inspired you to start business and get to where you are today. So it's almost like that life story biography kind of thing mixed with the lessons and everything else that you are today. So it's just free flowing like a coffee morning. So if you think it of that way as a timeline, will be the
yeah.
starting. So about you, like I said, where you're born, where you come from, the siblings, and the journey. So just pick it up from there, the starting point. Where did it all start? If that makes
Yeah,
sense. Mm.
it makes complete sense, Alex, and I'm more than happy to share my story with
Yeah,
you and anyone else who will be watching this.
yeah. Mm.
So yeah, so for me, my name is Mani Yanika. I'm
Mm.
37 years old. I was born in the Congo, in DRC.
Mm-hmm.
So to a pretty big family. My I've got like two sisters that live in the UK. I'm
Mm-hmm.
currently now based in Budapest, where I am running my business.
Mm.
But going back in the days, so I left the Congo when I was 9 years old, and I moved to Brussels, where I grew up. I was raised by my uncle, and then I lived in Brussels till the age of 16, where basically I loved business and I always aspired to be a business person.
Yeah.
So I remember back in the days I think I had my first business at around 13 year old, where I used to manage music artists. And I really love it because I love the music. But then
Yeah.
when I was 16, I was like, in order for me to do something different and to grow into becoming a real businessman, I need to learn English and I need to move into where things are happening. So I moved to London at the age of 16 with just a small bag, with a dream of maybe one day going to university and making it. So so that's how it started, you know. So moving to London, I could not speak any English, so I had to learn, you know. And it was a very hard beginning, because I still remember going to college and registering myself into a course. They thought that I had a learning disabilities because I could not understand what they were telling me, and it was so hard for me to communicate because obviously I couldn't speak English either. So they put me in a class with children with learning disabilities on the first 2 months of my time in the UK, and I didn't know. I really didn't know that I was in such a class. I only realized when basically we were doing mathematics, and it was too easy. I was like, I used to do this in primary school. That can't be right, you know. Like, England is not so well; it's so backward, you know. I was pretty sure I came in the right country, in the right city, you know. And and then I met a girl at the same school, where German girl actually. She was studying real English, and then she told me, "But the class you are on doesn't seem like it's the right class for you, because you know you seem to be pretty intelligent. So how come you are there?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't even know. What do you mean?" You know? And she's like, "Well, but this place is known for kids with special needs. Do you have any special needs?" And I said, "No." But she could speak a little bit of French, by the way, so she was talking to me in French. And then she encouraged me to actually go and speak to the headmaster of the school, to be put into her class, because I was not in the right class. So that was my beginning, basically. So I had to fight the actual system to be put in the right place. So, and at that time, the headmaster was like, "Are you sure you can do this?" I'm like, "Yes, of course I can do this," you know. So they put me into the class. I performed extremely well. And then June came, end of the year. So I was ready to do my A-levels, you know, because that's what you need to study before going to university. And then I said, "Yeah, I'm ready to do my A-levels." And they said, "Hold on a minute, you need to do level 2 now of English." I'm like, "Hold on a second. How many levels are there?" You know, like, I don't need to do another level. I'm ready to go and do my A-levels. And they said, "Well, not really, because, you know, you need to have your GCSEs, math and English, as well as your A-levels, you know, in order to go to university, which is the next step. So you need to do first the GCSE levels of English and maths." And I said, "No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it, but I will do it at the same time with my A-levels." They're like, "No way. How are you going to be able to do this?" I'm like, "Wow, how do you know I'm not going to be able to do it?" You know? So that was my beginning. Literally, I had to show that I'm able to do something while I was being judged of not being able to do so without trying, you know? So yeah, I convinced the headmaster. So I did my A-levels and GCSEs at the same time, and I came up top of my class with a medal. Yeah. So then I was given a place to go to university. That's how everything started, you know, from there, literally. So yeah, I went to university in Bath. I did my first degree in business and economics. Then after that, I wanted to do a master degree. So I did my first master's in strategy, where basically I focused in energy strategy, because at that time I was very curious about what was driving the world. And to me, it came to natural resources, and energy was the main thing. And everybody was always talking about Russia controlling gas system. And whenever something was happening in Russia and Ukraine, in terms of gas supply, it was affecting the whole market. And so I decided to learn about that and to see how, you know, industries are being impacted and what they can do to mitigate this risk. So I did that. And then I got a job as a consultant at EY. That's where I started my career, you know, focusing on energy trading and risk management, before basically moving into trading energy for Npower RWE, so one of the biggest energy
Yeah.
companies in the UK, is a big German energy firm. So I
Yeah.
spent 3 years of my time there, basically trading energy and advising companies on how to hedge their energy risk.
Energy.
So,
Wow.
so that was the early days of my career. So fast forward, doing that, I was always passionate about helping others. So helping companies for me was where I started, basically.
Yeah.
Dealing
Mm.
with CFOs, dealing with energy trading risk professionals.
Yeah.
Uh, and then from that time, I realized that, for me to go even higher, I wanted to do an MBA to literally be able to cover bigger perspective, bigger
Yeah.
institutions.
Mm.
So I went to Warwick Business School, where I was awarded a scholarship, and I did my MBA there.
Yeah.
Also, my focus was finance and energy there. And then that's how I landed my first job at investment banking. So I moved to JP Morgan.
Yes.
So yeah, and it was kind of daunting because I didn't know too much about banking, although I knew a lot about the market
Yeah.
because I was covering the market from an energy trading perspective. And JP
Yeah.
Morgan, we were just looking for someone with a kind of background,
Yeah.
advisory, trading, and MBA, and I started off at JP Morgan, literally covering the commodities business. At that
Mm.
time, JP Morgan was looking to sell the commodities
Yeah.
business, part of the commodities business. So I worked on reviewing these businesses before moving into the chief investment office, where I was basically the business manager, looking at everything from investment, from technology,
Yeah.
from operational perspective. So from new product.
Yeah.
So I was literally the main man, where the front office will come to me, finance team will come to me, technology
Yeah.
will come to me, operation will come to me. So I was like the center point of contact for all activities related to the chief investment office based in
Yeah.
London.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Absolutely. 'Cause that's where we met, isn't it? That's why I vividly remember
exactly,
that, you being the main man on the floor, the go-to person, so
exactly. That's exactly where we met. And by the way, I have only good memories of that
mm,
time, of my
yes,
interaction with you and with all team members. It was a
yeah,
great experience that led to where I am today, really.
yeah,
So,
really
so
good.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, absolutely. So from that point,
Mm,
I was headhunted to go and to go to another bank, Santander, where
yeah.
basically I was being asked to build a team to kind of manage strategic projects. And one of the big strategic projects was to create basically an ecosystem where Santander will be able to distribute Latin American products into Europe
Mm-hmm.
by using a platform
Yeah,
where different business lines will be sharing services, basically, and then so I started doing it. Great job, where basically I was supporting the head of innovation, the global head of innovation for the investment bank, as well
mm-hmm.
as the head of a strategic project. So it was a
Yeah,
great role to be. But unfortunately, with um basically Brexit came into place, so a
yeah,
lot of plans changed because London was supposed to be the hub, and
yeah,
then because of Brexit, discussion changed to making it Madrid. So my
yeah,
job became very much political rather than execution. So
yeah,
so with that, I had a lot of challenges. Being a young person of color traveling to Madrid and negotiating with people who have been at the firm for decades on
yeah.
why we should do things certain ways became just too overwhelming for me, like in
Mm,
terms of challenges.
yeah.
So one of my clients, startup clients, where we were actually working together on building the ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
asked me to join them, to continue what we started at Santander, but from a
Yeah.
startup perspective.
Mm,
So I said yes. It sounds like a great idea because I've been involved already for for over a year on the project, so I knew exactly what we were doing. I was the right person to continue implementing that idea into the bank and other banks. So yeah, I moved there. But as you can imagine, the challenges with startups is funding. Like funding is the number one challenges in any startup, literally. That's why many startups, when they raise funds, they go there as, hey, this is a victory. We raise funds, you know? Like before even having any product out, like raising funds is like a victory. So we had that challenge of fundraising, you know, which came at the time of Brexit and the time of MiFID. So imagine, not only banks were occupied with MiFID 2, but they were also occupied with Brexit. So in terms of allocating funds into startups, it was very, very, very challenging, like mission impossible, pretty much. So even though we had great idea, great products, but the challenge was raising funds. You know, we could not make it to the level where we were able to scale and to actually build out the product so that banks could start using it. So I remember my son was born during that period, and then 3 months into his life in this world, we get called into the meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Like we let go because we could not raise the funds. And I was then like, oh my God, you know, this is crazy. What am I going to do? You know, I've got a 3-month-old son. My wife was studying full-time a master's in law at King's College. And everything was on me, basically. And I was like, wow, you know, how am I going to do this? But the good thing is, I had a side gig, you know, a side project with real estate that I was doing in Budapest 5 years ago. At that time, it was 3 years ago, you know, because that was 2 years ago. So that side gig was basically, I saw an opportunity where a lot of international students were coming to study, but they didn't have adequate accommodation. And not just that, but also you had like families coming on holidays, not really having the right Airbnb accommodation. So, or hotels with that fact, you know, when you are a family of 7, 8, 9, or 10, like you're going with your brothers and sisters on holiday, it's very difficult to find the right suitable accommodation for you to share memorable time, like when you were a kid, for example. You know, you want to relive this moment. So I saw the opportunity to kind of build up on that. And lucky enough, I was making enough money from that business that I did not have to rely on going back into full-time job. But I was scared. I was still scared. Is it really going to be sustainable? Is it really a risk worth taking, going solo, doing my own thing? What happened if this? What happened if that? What happened if it doesn't work out? You know? So I had all these doubts in me. But what really gave me the courage was my partner. She said, what do you have to lose? You know, right now, you don't have anything to lose. It's either you go back into banking, so you go back into square one where you basically left, or either you build up on your experience to build your own thing. You know, like you have the great experience of working at corporate, you have the great experience of working at startups, so you know how to build something. And also, I have the great experience of having failed to raise money on basically trying to focus on what will make me survive if I don't raise money, if you see what I mean. That became my drive, basically, like how to run without money, you know, like just relying on myself. And that's how basically I decided to go solo. So from that point of time, I was equipped with the knowledge of what's a digital platform, because I haven't worked at JP Morgan, having worked at Santander, having worked at the startup, technology startup. So I knew exactly what is a platform, you know, what we're looking to build. So I decided to build my own platform to serve the business that I started building a few years back. And that platform became MYCOlive. effectively. So it took us 2 years to build. From that time, I decided to keep it quiet and just focus. So I had a lot of offers on business offers, opportunities, jobs, so many things that I could just derail my focus and go and do them. But I turned everything down, knowing that if I had to succeed, I had to focus. It's very simple. It's as simple as that. You need to focus on just doing that. So the first thing was, okay, where do I start? How do I start building a platform? That was very daunting, really daunting moment. But that's when my strategic mindset and corporate mindset kicked in. So I sat down with myself and I looked at the operating model. Like, okay, so for it to work in the future, this is what I need to have. And that's what I used to do as a job. Like, I need to have the technology, I need to have the finance, I need to have, the people, I need to have the right strategy, and I need to have the execution strategy as well. And then I also need to have scenarios in terms of, okay, what happens if this doesn't work, And then I purposely focus on scenario A, which is my plan A. Many people tell you, oh, you need to have a plan B, plan C, and so on and so on. Although I knew my scenarios, but I decided to have only one plan, which is the plan A. So yeah, and that was very daunting. Like, wow, what happened if plan A failed? I was like, so what? Then it failed. I will get back onto my feet, but I did not want to be distracted by plan B, plan C. You see what I mean? So therefore, plan A was my number one focus. So the first thing I did was identify the right people I needed to have by my side to build this, and also look at the financial means that I needed to have to build this. So I contracted a team of technology experts, a technology team basically based in the US, but the team themselves, they're based in India. Indian engineers are known to be very good, software engineers. But first I had to trust as well, So it's not just about contracting a team. You need to trust that team. You need to make sure they understand your vision as well.
Absolutely.
And also how you're going to implement it, and financially how you're going to make it. You need to have sufficient cash coming in to be able to make it, because building a platform is one thing. Dreaming to build a platform is one thing, then building it is another thing.
It's another thing.
Is completely another thing. So I spent 3 months of my time educating the software engineers of what we need to build. 3 months, just like before we start anything. So we had to put things on paper. Like okay, this is it's like you call it the as if, is how it's going to look like in the future. What you want to build. What do you want to build? What problem are you looking to solve? So I had to explain the whole team, because software engineers are great at building things, but not necessarily great at understanding the problem you're looking to solve. So even if you build the best platform out there in the market, but if you're not solving a problem, then your platform will die because nobody cares about it.
Very true.
So that was my first 3 months, was to basically, I did not want to have close friends involved in the project, or even colleagues involved in the project on purpose. Why? Simply because, one, it was a project that was very close to me. So I did not want to be distracted by people telling me like different things, like they're thinking, because very often you hear on your circle, even if they're friends, negativity. First thing is, but there is already this, but don't you think it's too risky? All these things, like coming into your mind and then making you worried. I didn't want to hear any of it. So I was, and plus I didn't want anybody to even know what I was building. You know, so therefore I decided to completely work with random people, completely random people, but wish I had built the trust over the 3 months by going through what we are building, basically. And to be honest, I'm thankful to them because they're very professional and very focused and very patient. Yes, there are many times we fell through. Like I was very upset. Like, oh, we will never make it because they were not delivering what I wanted. There are many times I was very upset as well because I thought that they could not understand what I wanted. You know, so is going through that process. Believe me, Alex, was very painful. It's the most difficult thing I ever done. So not only you are working with a team of about 10 people based in India. So we are talking about software engineers, quality assurance, project managers, testers, sprint guys. So we're working in an agile mode where, you know, we are evolving as we are building one thing, we're moving into the next one. We're not waiting to have the whole thing perfect. We just, you know, want to have sections of the things working, and then we will update it, and you know, as we go. So yeah, at that time, like 1 year into the project, roughly, I thought that we made it. I was like, wow, we made it. This is amazing. We're ready to go out. And then I realized, no, we are far away from making it because we could not make it function. It was not, we looked at it from a customer perspective, you know? So let's look at the workflow. So we're coming in, customer is coming in and he wants a room or an apartment or something. Let's do it. How is it going to work? And then we realized that things were not communicating with each other. There were a lot of bugs, a lot of problems, communication. The codes were broken. Oh my God, it was so hard. And at that time, the name of the platform had my name, like Manny, you know. And then I realized, like, this is not going to work. I can't have a platform with my name, you know. It's just not scalable. And I remember at the beginning, the name was called Manny Budapest. And at that time, I was like, how am I going to scale that outside Budapest? Like in London, in Paris, in Greece, in, you know, in Lisbon, by having a name like Manny Budapest. And plus, what's my brand, you know? What's the name? What's the logo? What's the story, you know? And I was lacking all of this, like on top of the actual platform not being ready, and me not being a technical person. I'm a business person, although I do understand what is needed, but I needed someone in between me and the team that can help translate what was going through my mind into execution mode, you know, like checking the coding, like all the stuff. So it was just pure luck, but at the same time, you create your own luck, you know?
Absolutely.
So I came across a post somewhere on social media that someone was selling a business, and that someone was Alberto Ferrari. Alberto is basically now is a social media, a digital marketing guru. So he also manages artists, like recording artists, social media presence, as well as athletes. You know, in the show business, social media is like the number one thing. You need to be there.
Absolutely.
You just cannot ignore that, you know. And at the same time, he also manages artists, like a music manager, you know. And he was telling one of his companies that he was no longer using because he had two companies, one based in Estonia and one based in Budapest, which he was no longer using. He wanted to keep it leaner to serve his clients. And then at the same time, I was looking to basically make my project becoming a company, obviously, you know, because the natural state from having an idea into a project, and then you have to become a business, and a business needs to be a company. You can't have a business that is not a company.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, a project is not a business, it's a project.
Yeah.
An idea is not a company, it's an idea. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you move from the idea to project to business to company? So, and then thanks to my wife, who studied obviously international law at King's College, and then her experience of being an entrepreneur and a lawyer, she basically advised me to have two separate entities. She said, you know, Manny, what you're building is big. On one side, you have the assets, which is the properties that I've been purchasing and, you know, managing for clients over the years. So we built the client base, international client base, as well as my own assets. That's one thing. You are now building a software in order to facilitate booking of these assets for clients, as well as for wider customers and other clients who might come in the future, who can become clients. You know, it could be real estate agencies. They have portfolio of properties, and you know, and they want to come to you to kind of manage the booking side of it. So it has to be a separate business. You cannot mix your management and assets with your software into one. You know, you need to separate the business. And she gave me the advice that, you know, at that time I was looking to mix it, you know, and that was the big game changer in how I think.
Thinking,
you know? Absolutely. And also I started looking for funding to basically offset my development costs. You know, so obviously I started off by myself. Every revenue and income that I was making from our investment business, like management and investing, we were putting it into the development of the software, basically. So that's what we were doing. But at the same time, I was like, okay, how do I offset the risk? If we fail, for example, I would have used all my money. But at this, and if we want to grow, I need investors too. You can't grow on your own, you know. So I tapped into one of our investors already. That investor is Christophe Péchou, one of the he's one of the 8 investors that we already had. And Christophe Péchou was the former global head of innovation at Santander. If you recall, at the beginning of my story, I said I was working on the platform there, and I was reporting to Christophe Péchou, as well as the head of strategic project. So, so Christophe knew me already, so he knew already what I was up to. And when I approached him about the idea of building the platform for to serve, you know, basically for co-living. The platform is a platform for co-living and co-working. You know, now with the COVID, everybody realized that you can work from anywhere. You don't need to be, you know, you can work from MYCOlive apartments, just like you can work from your own home. You know, sometimes you want to change minds. You want to be away from your 4 walls or your kids. You know, you want to go and work. In the past, people would go and work in the Starbucks, you know, but that's a public area with a lot of people, like in and out. So why don't you go and work at MYCOlive, where you have peace of mind, you know? The home is a home, but it's just not your home, or it can be your home too, you know? So that's the concept, which is amazing, really. So
absolutely.
You know, so at that time, that was way before COVID, you know, that I had the idea already. But then we needed to build the platform. So I had to convince the guys, like, you know, why we should build this platform, why they should invest in this platform. You know, so I went to London, I met the guys. My wife kind of put together a structure. How is it going to work?
嗯
And then, you know, I pitched to them. and they're like, let's do it, let's go, you know. Yeah. So that's how I got my first investors. So I sold 10% of MYCOlive to them. So they go 5% each at pre-seed. That's what you call a pre-seed. For anybody who, yes, for anybody who's watching, before entrepreneurs raise money, like by selling portion of the companies, you first need to convince your inner circle, people who you know, your friends, your family, and so on and so on. So in general, that process, that stage of investment is what you call pre-seed. Pre-seed, you go to your friends and family, like, hey, I have this idea, you know, I want to make it, you know, like, would you be interested to come and invest? You don't go to investors, to VCs with an idea. Like, they just won't invest in your idea, unfortunately. Many people think that, it's possible, but no, they don't invest in ideas. They will invest either with people that they know already, okay, or they will invest in something that is already operational, like, okay, show me what you're doing, you know, like they just won't invest in the PowerPoints, to keep it simple. So, but this I knew. I worked at a bank where we were scooping startups, so I know exactly how it works. That's why banks and big companies, they have set up accelerators. If you see JP Morgan, they have their own in-house residence program. That's because they use this as a way to vet, as a way to see whether it's fit for their business before they even go into any investment. And only a very small number of people manage to make it. So, and only a very, very small number of people manage to even be part of this residence program. So you can imagine, right? So you can't just get a big firm to come and invest, and you can't just get a VC to come and invest. Unfortunately, you need to start with the people around you first, and then build whatever is there that is not yet scalable, but is something that, you know, people can see, is tangible. So I knew all this. That's the reason why, for me, lucky enough, I already had these investors. They were big already, and I did not need to resort to external investors, you know. So I kept my investors internal investors because of two things. I didn't want people to know what we were building. And then secondly, I didn't want to have too many people impacting on my decision-making process. So once you start having these big VCs and big investors coming in, they start dictating the way you're going.
So they can distract you from your vision as well.
Yes. And the number one thing with me is I don't mind having them as advisors, but is an issue when my vision is being moved in a different direction. Unless I'm moving wrong, you know, I just don't want that. And I spent my whole career having to convince people why we should do certain things certain ways. And then I didn't want to end up in another corporate environment within my own firm, you know. So that's the thing. That was the decision process on why I should pick certain people. And then we started off working together, and then the rules, even the deal was very clear. Like, they would serve as advisors and not change the way I'm running things. You know, and they trusted me completely, and I really thank them, because without that trust, I would not be able to do this. Without my partner's guidance in terms of legal guidance, how to structure certain things, I will not be able to do this. So without the tech team behind, I will not be able to do this. So